But listen to this maniac. Here he is.
What do you think about Colin Powell coming out like shock of all shocks for what's his name, for BO? Do you think Colin Powell came out for BO because of his race? Duh. You know, I thought about this. It was embarrassing for me to watch Colin Powell lie about Obama. And I thought this, and forgive me for being so blunt, but it seems to Michael Savage that the only people who don't seem to vote based on race are white people of European origin. That's an interesting observation. The only people who don't seem to vote based on race are whites of European origin. Why is that? If everyone else votes along racial lines, as they obviously do, and proudly, by the way. So my biggest statement is about Powell, which is that the only people who don't seem to vote based on race are white people of European origin. And, you know, that becomes a philosophical question worth talking about. Why are white people of European origin the only people who don't seem to vote based on race? Is it because they're more tolerant? Is it because whites of European origin are more accepting and more tolerant of other races? I wonder if they're going to be that way once they find out that not all, let's say not all people love them as much as they may think.
Okay, I have so many things to say about this. I'm going to get to his last comment, which is the worst, in a second. But first, what's with the pronunciations? What is so tolerant? Let me be so blunt. The guy's a lunatic, man. I mean, if he's kidding around, all right, I guess, but I don't see it. And then the second part of it is, he's like, yeah, you ever notice that white people are the only ones that don't vote based on race? No, I didn't notice that. What's your facts behind this observation of yours? None. Just state it as a fact. Well, you ever notice that? No. In fact, I've noticed in this country, come on now, man. Dude, seriously, Michael Weiner, that's his real name. You've never studied American history? You don't think white people in this country voted based on their race? How can anyone really say that, man? How can you say that with a straight face? Unless your whole show is named the Michael Clown Savage Show. And it starts with the music. White people have never voted based on race in this country. All right. I'm going to let that go because it is so preposterous. But let's get to the last part, which is actually disturbing. He's saying, these tolerant, accepting white people, they're going to get a different lesson when Obama wins. And what is that lesson? You know, it's interesting because personal anecdote, a friend of mine said his parents went to church and talked to all their friends. And they said, who are you going to vote for? And the friends all said McCain. And they're like, oh, that's interesting. Why? They said, you know, black people, if they get in charge, if Obama wins, they're going to feel like they're in charge. And then you know what happens. And I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know what Savage is talking about. I don't know what those people in church are talking about. What happens? Do all of a sudden, like can black people pull you over and be like, okay, I'm in charge now. Okay, you need to do what I tell you. Can they pull you over in traffic? Can they come to your house? Be like, okay, we're in charge now. What does that mean? That's nuts, dude. That's absolutely nuts. But the problem is, people who are this nutty never get challenged because they don't live in the same world usually as sane people. Like they get clustered into little groups and in their basement they listen to Michael Savage and like, yeah, black people take over, it'll be terrible. Oh. And so no one bothers to ask him, what does that mean? Is Obama going to open up the White House and then he's going to put a big boombox in front, be like, hey, oh, black people, come on in! We're taking over now! Okay, and even if he did, then what? Are they going to come take your house? Is that what's going to happen? You already lost your house because of the Republicans. So what else could happen to you that hasn't already happened at the hands of the Republicans? I just don't get it, man.